My name is Jared James. If you aren't familiar with me, I'm best known as an entrepreneur that gets the unique opportunity to coach and train agents and brokers in the real estate world and speak at conferences in front of thousands of people. But it wasn't always that way for me. What separates me from so many others is that I've actually done everything that I want you to be able to do. For that reason, this is the place to come if you want to learn the strategies needed to succeed in today's marketplace. This is the Jared James Today Show.
Hey guys, Jared James here, and welcome to episode 39 of the Jared James Today Show. As always, guys, thank you so much for all of you that are giving thumbs up, leaving comments, and doing all the things you do with here, especially subscribing and sharing this with somebody that you think will benefit from it. The topic that I want to talk about today is one that I think is a little bit timely, and I'm going to try to do this a little bit conversationally in a way where there's not another recipient of the conversation, which is a little difficult. But I think you guys are going to see me thinking on the fly a little bit, and this is a little bit of a different topic than you hear me cover on a regular basis. And I'm titling this episode, It's Time to Start Believing in Yourself, okay? Now, I'm going to be honest with you, when I hear that, I hear a little cornball, like I can't stand it, whatever. But the truth of the matter is that this is the time of the year when, especially doing what I do for a living, but even you guys who don't do what I do for a living, you're around people on a regular basis. And this is a time of the year when they are setting goals, and in many cases, too many are not reaching those goals. They're not reaching whatever it is they want to do because a lot of people believe in the result, they believe in what it is that they want to do, they believe that they need it, but then why do so many not actually hit what it is that they're going after? I think that there's a little bit of a lack of belief in their self. I think that at some point when it gets difficult, they know that they believe in that cause, they know that they believe in that thing that they should do, but at some point their overall image of themselves doesn't match up and they kind of go, well, whatever, something else is going to win out, right? And so this time of the year, guys, there's a few quotes that I think about all the time. I like quotes. I like to think about things like that. And one of my favorite quotes that I've held on for a long time is, whoever said the sky is the limit didn't realize there were footprints on the moon, okay? And that is a quote when you think about it. Whoever said the sky is the limit didn't know there were footprints on the moon. What does that really tell you? It tells you that there's always more than what you think, right? Like, think about that for a second, guys. I know that I'm doing this video format and you're watching me on your phone or your computer or your big screen or your, wherever you're watching me right now, while you're in the gym, whatever it is, but I want you to really think about that for a second. Whoever said that the sky was the limit didn't know that there were footprints in the moon. The point of that, and the reason why I think about that so much, is because just when we think that we have nothing left, just when we think that there's not more, there's always more. Like, go talk to people who go through Navy SEALs trainings and go through whatever, and they think that they can't possibly go any further. When I'm on the road, I won't do this now, but I have actual stories about this that involve my son and other things about how there's always more than what you think there is. And I believe that wasted talents is one of the greatest shames of all. Wasted talent is one of the greatest shames of all. Not measuring up to someone else, not doing as much as someone else, not wasted talent. I did a show a few episodes ago where I talked about talent, and I talked about how important it was and how we wanted to get the most out of ourselves. Wasted talent is the greatest one of all, and I think that one of the reasons why we waste so much talent is because we don't understand that quote. Whoever said the sky is the limit didn't realize there were footprints on the moon. And I want to talk to you guys about a few things today. Financially, especially this time of the year when people are, deciding what they're going to do financially, and they're finally getting motivated to set budgets and do these kinds of things. Financially, many times what I try to do with people to try to teach them to be good stewards is I tell them to live below their means, which you all know what that means, right? It means I make this and I try to live down here, regardless of where you're at, because I believe that people are usually broke, not because of what they make, but because of what they spend, right? The same people that are broke at $50,000 or broke at $100,000 or broke at $200,000. It's about what you spend more than it is about what you make. It's about what you invest in more than it is about what you spend money in. Those are two completely different things. And so when I'm telling people live below your means, so many people have difficulty with that. And yet, if we get real about it, in just about every other area of their life, they're used to living below their means. Like, really think about this for a second. People on a regular basis, from a talent perspective, from an ambition perspective, from their actions perspective, from wherever it happens to be, are on a regular basis living below their means. And I, doing what I do for a living, and many times kind of questioning, why does that happen? Why do people live below their means from a talent, from a ambition? Why are they not as ambitious as they should be? Why do people live below their means from a exercise? Why do people live below their means as far as what they're shooting for their business? Why do people live below their means from a relational standpoint and settle for relationships that are nowhere near the level of what they really should have in their life? Why do people do this, right? And I'm going to go over with you what I think 3 reasons are why people do this in an effort to get you, as we talked about the title for the show, to start believing in yourself again. I want you to think about these as you're still motivated for your goals, while you're still going to the gym, while you're still in that moment. I want you to kind of think about these things and say, hey, it's time for me to start believing in myself. Why is it that I live below my means? Why is it, right? So first thing, the first reason that I believe is that it's incorrect focus. Focus has so much to do with how we feel, has so much to do with our state of mind, has so much to, literally think of someone right now who just utterly ticks you off, right? If you think about that person long enough, how are you going to feel? When you walk into a room and you see that person, how do you feel? When you walk in a room and you see someone you love and they're always the life of the party and they're amazing or whatever, how do you feel, right? So focus has everything to do with how we feel, and so I believe that depressed people live in the past, anxious people live in the future, but happy, grateful people live where? They live in the present, right? And so depressed people live in the past. Why? Because they're always worried about, what was that there? Why did I do that? Why did that happen to me? Why did that, whatever. Anxious people live where? They live in the future, because it's always worry. What's going to happen? This could happen. That could happen. It's always whatever. But grateful people, happy people live where? They live right now. I've said for a long time that gratitude comes from that place, but confidence, so gratitude comes from living in right now, but confidence comes from focusing on the right distance, right? What we are trained to do since we're little kids, what we're trained to do by business coaches, what we're trained to do is to always focus on the wrong distance, the distance between where we are and where we want to go, which is where we're never at. There's always a gap. This is where I'm trying to go. This is where I'm working towards. This is where and guys, don't get me wrong. There is a lot of that is absolutely necessary. But when it's all you do, you continually live in a place where you're never enough, right? It's just, I'm never there. And once you get there, what's the next place we're going to? And it's the wrong distance. The distance that you want to focus on is not necessarily just the distance between where you are right now and where you're trying to go. The distance you also want to focus on is the distance between where you are right now and where you came from. Because that's a huge distance. And all of a sudden, you don't compare yourself to where I am compared to this person, where I am. Now you're able to look at, where did I come from? Everybody comes from different places. Where I am now, everybody's in different places. And what does that distance look like? And now you have something to be proud of. You right now, if you were to compare your life, yourself, your business, your whatever, to many people around you, you wouldn't add up. And then others of you would add up fantastic. And then others of you, but that's not the distance we go by. We go by the distance of where we came from and where we are, because that ultimately gives us confidence to go towards wherever it is that we want to go. And so when we're talking about it's time to start believing in yourself, the first thing we have to do is we have to focus on the right distance. Not just where you want to go, you want to get focused on where it is that you actually came from. And what I know is that you can't do big things when you're distracted by little things. Okay? I'm going to say that again for many of you that need to hear that. Okay? That should probably be an Instagram quote or something. I'll tell Nicole after this, we'll make an Instagram quote. But you can't do big things when you're distracted by little things. When every little thing bothers you, when every little thing that you think someone really meant, when every little problem that comes up in a transaction and it throws you off your game, you will never be able to do big things until you first understand that you can't be that distracted by little things. It's really that simple. I told an audience recently, you can be as big as whatever it is that you're passionate about, or you can be as small as the little things that bother you on a regular basis. Because for both people, they're always there, right? So part of believing in yourself, part of believing in where you're going is understanding and having correct focus on what it is that I'm going to put inside me, what it is that I'm going to think about, what it is that I'm going to believe, where it is that I am and where it is that I came from, and putting that all into proper perspective. Second thing is very much what we're talking about now, which is just very simply a lack of a belief in yourself, okay? Here's something I really want you to think about, and it's just true. Like, think about this for a second. Look around you. Look at the people you've grown up with. look at people on television, look at wherever you want to look. Can we agree that there are people with less talent, that are less qualified, that have less resources, that are doing the things that you wish you were doing? And what is the difference between you and them? It's pretty simple, right? They simply, with less talent, with less resources, with less qualifications, the thing that they had more of was belief in themselves. That's it. That's the only difference. Like, if you can think of anyone right now with less talent, less qualified, less resources, doing what you wish you were doing, that's a belief issue, right? And so at some point, we just got to step up and say, hey, I'm good enough. I'm there. I'm ready. Like what we love to do, think about this, is I think it was something like, it's like over 80% of all thoughts that we have are negative thoughts, right? We love to think about negative. I always say that the greatest human addiction on planet Earth is the addiction to our own problems. The addiction to, it's what we think about all the time. Can we all agree that there are enough people that focus on your weaknesses? Can we agree that in the ecosystem that we live in, there are enough people who are completely aware of what you don't do great, are completely aware of what you're not fantastic at, are completely aware of how you respond wrong in situations, are completely aware, like, can we all agree that they're there? Can we not add to their corner? Right? Can we be in our own corner? Can we just try to, like, you see where I'm going right now? They're always there. They're always going to be there. They're not looking for teammates, okay? You might as well jump on board on the other side and finally go, hey, you know what? It's all true, but watch me do it anyway. That's it, guys. People who do great things, people who achieve on high levels, people who have, I say this all the time, they don't change into capes and phone booths or anything, right? It's just simply while you're sitting there criticizing, while you're telling me every reason why I don't belong, while you're telling me every reason why it can't happen, while you're telling me, I'm going, well, you know what? When I look at the distance between where I came from and where I am, it didn't make sense. Just like where you're saying, it wouldn't make sense for me to go there. You're right, but neither did this. And we'll spend all that time telling me what I don't do great and what I'm not good at and what I'm not whatever. I'm going to actually just get started. Like, I'm going to get started going wherever it is that I want to go, start putting the plan together of what that's going to look like. I'm going to do that while you're talking about why it can't be done. And by the way, the people that you know that are less qualified, that have less resources, that have less talent, that are doing whatever it is that you wish you could be doing, that's all that they did. They had a belief in themselves. They didn't believe that they were perfect. They didn't believe that they were supernatural. They didn't believe any of those things. They simply believed that they needed to start. And they said, plenty of other people who aren't perfect have done great things. Why can't I? It's that simple, right? Third reason is that you don't have an example to model or look up to. Okay? This is a big thing when it comes to believing in yourself and believing something can be done and believing you can build a business or a company or a team the way you want to or whatever it is that there's nothing to see. You know, there's no example. There's no, like, how does this even work? How does this even, and so when there's no example, no whatever, you don't even know what it is that you're supposed to look at. And this is probably, by the way, one of the most common things that I hear in this industry when I talk to agents and I talk to brokers and I talk to, is the two most common things they love to say when you give them a new idea, or somebody from my perspective who's dealing with people from all over the world and seeing their models and seeing what works and seeing is they love to say, well, nobody does that in my area, or everyone's doing that in my area, right? That's what people love to say. And the problem with those two responses is that you never win. Those two responses are non-active responses, meaning that you won't even do anything because nobody does it here. Oh, everybody's doing it here. It's not about you doing what everybody's doing in your area, right? It's not about seeing the person in your brokerage or seeing the person within that's doing something that you want to do. Sometimes you have to go beyond that place to see the example. I was talking to someone just the other day and they said, I can't talk to people within my brokerage. I can't because I'm above where they are. Like, they just want to learn from me and there's nothing I can show them, and yet I know there's more. So where do I go? How do I grow now? Because no one here is feeding me. I'm just feeding them. And I said to them, welcome to Jared James Coaching. Like, literally, that's what I said to them, because there's a different perspective. You need to see a model. You need to see a different way of doing things where hopefully, by the way, no one is doing it in your area, okay? But what you can't do is you can't allow that excuse that I don't see it in my area, I don't see it, so I guess I'll just stay where I am. I guess I'm doing well. If you're going to start doing that, we're right back to the wasted talent thing, okay? And so as we're beginning 2019 right now, I always think about like what I want to get across to you guys and what I want you to think of and what I want you to, and the big thing that kept coming up, and the reason why I'm not talking about some of the practical ways to create business right now, and a lot of times like we do, is because as I'm having conversations with people and I'm just reading what it is that they're actually thinking, and I'm going, they seem so motivated right now. Why is that not going to be the same thing in 7 months? And it just came down to me, and I'm like, they believe in the cause, they believe that it'd be good to get there, they believe, but at some point along the way, they lose their belief in themselves to actually carry that through. So this is something I want to stick with you, and I want you to understand that that process, that journey of looking at these 3 things we talked about is not easy, okay? But I'm going to tell you that comfort is a greater obstacle to your success than any kind of adversity ever could be, okay? Comfort is a greater obstacle to your success this year than adversity ever could be, okay? Adversity is a great thing, but if you really want to take someone down who has great potential, make them comfortable. Because then they'll just kind of like, well, I guess we're good, I guess we're whatever. It is your job to recognize when you're a frog in boiling water and there's so much more for you, and you need to see a model that brings you beyond where you are at that moment. You need to start having a belief in yourself and saying, this is not only good for other people, this is good for me right now. And you need to start being very intentional about the idea of focusing on the right part of your life you should focus on, which is where you came from where you're going to, not just where you are right now and where you're going to go someday, okay? If you guys can do those things, I'm hoping that this is going to help you to start to believe in yourself on the level that you really should. Guys, as always, when we do this, if you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. If that's you and you're like, you know what, I'm going to make this something tangible that I'm actually going to do this year. I'm going to start having a belief in myself, as corny as it sounds. That's what I'm going to do. Just write yes below in the comments. I appreciate that. Share this with someone that needs to hear it. There are a lot of people that need to hear this, both in our industry and outside of it. Do that, please. Subscribe to the channel. Say hello, like I always say, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for watching. Hey there, you, and I am talking to you in particular, person that made it to the end of my video. It means the world to me. But if you made it to the end, I'm hoping that you'll take a second and subscribe right here. Make sure you share that with all your friends, by the way. They're in real estate, sales, entrepreneurial, whatever it happens to be. By the way, if you're looking for a speaker for your upcoming event, click right here to get some more information. And as usual, if you have a question you want me to personally respond, just connect on social. You can click right over here and see all the platforms I'm on. I hope to hear from you soon. Have a great one.